back again, and today is going to be a super fun video because today we are going to make huge wing standards with 4x4s, and it's really easy. Hi again, it's me, Lisa, the Budget Equestrian. Welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, welcome. So today is the day you guys have probably been waiting for. We are going to make some very substantial wing standards with 4x4s. And I was talking about this the other day. I went to Home Depot and they did not have landscaping timbers. I was totally bummed. But it's the end of December, beginning of January, so I guess it kind of makes sense. So they did have the 4x4s in the 8-foot sections, which the wings that I'm going to build for you today are 4 foot tall. So this is perfect. I got 2 4x4s that are 8 foot long, so I'm going to make a pair of wings. Each 4x4 will be cut in half, so it's going to be 4 foot and 4 foot. That will make the sides of the wings. The other wood that I'm going to be using today is 2x6s. That will be the feet, and then also 1x4s. They say they're 1x4s, but they're actually like 1x3.5. So that's what I'm going to use because I had a whole bunch of 1x4s left over. Perfect. So I can use them for this, and that way I get to recycle the wood and I didn't have to spend any more money. And also when I'm building these, I will be using 2x4s because that's what's going to connect and make the picket fence like action going on. And I'm going to use 2 different size screws. I will be using 2-inch long screws for the pickets, and I will also be using 3 1/2-inch long screws. Typically I use 3-inch screws, but because these bad boys are pretty substantial, I want to make sure that they are going to be secure. That's why I'm going to be using the 3 1/2-inch long deckmate screws for the feet. So now that you know what we're using, let's make some wing standards. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut our 4x4 sections of wood down in half basically. So we're going to cut them to 48 inches. So each of these 4x4s is 8 foot long. So I'm basically turning one 4x4 into 2 4x4s that are 4 foot long. And once I've marked the wood, now I'm going to use my circular saw to cut the 4x4s. When you're cutting the 4x4s, you will not be able to do it in one swoop like you would a 2x4 or a 2x6. So you'll have to cut through one side, then you have to turn the 4x4, cut through another side, then you have to turn the 4x4 one more time and cut through it again. There might be some really huge saw blades that can go through this, but for me, I just turn the wood and make sure I keep my cut straight. This is the speeded up version for the second 4x4. And once you have the wood cut, then you need to take 2 of the 4 foot long 4x4s and drill your holes for your jump cups. And I only did this on one of the 4x4s that will be on one pair of standards. So that's why I'm doing this on 2 of the 4x4 pieces of wood. Hopefully that makes sense. I think once you see this all built, it will totally make sense then. For my jump cups, I am making the holes 4 inches apart, starting at 12 inches. So starting at 1 foot from the bottom, that's where I start making my holes that I'm going to drill. And then using a spade bit, I think they're also called auger bits, you're just going to drill the holes. And again, this is the speeded up version. I really like the speeded up version. And once you have all of your holes drilled, it's a good idea to go ahead and sand the 4x4s. I like to sand all of my wood before I start assembling it. It makes it a lot easier. And now it's time to cut the center section of the jump standard. So for this jump standard, my center sections are going to be 30 inches. So I'm using a 2x4 and cutting them 30 inches, and you will need 4 of those for 1 pair of wing standard. And once you have the 2x4s cut, you're going to assemble your jump standard. So when you're assembling your jump standard, be very careful and make sure that you have one of the 4x4s that has the holes drilled in it, and the other 4x4 is the plain one, so there's no holes drilled in it. After the frame of the standard is built, now it's time to put on the feet. And for the feet of my standards, I'm using 2x6 lumber that I cut down to 24 inches. You don't want to go any shorter than 20 inches, otherwise your jump will kind of fall over the taller you start jumping with it. So I took my foot and I put a tape measure on it, and I started a screw at 12 inches. So that's right in the center of the foot. Then just attach it to the standard. And then you're just going to flip the standard around and do the same thing on the other side. When I'm doing this, I only put 1 screw in at first until I can make sure that the standard is level. And if it's level, then I will put in 2 additional screws. And the screws I'm using are the Deckmate 3.5 inch long screws. So now that we have our standards, like the frame of the standards done, it's time to make the pickets. For my pickets, I used 1x4 inch lumber, and I cut them to 40 inches tall. This is what I'm going to attach to the front of the standards. So after I sand them, then it's time to paint them. In my opinion, it's better to paint before you put the pickets on the standard. When you put it on the standard, it's just a lot messier and it takes a lot more time. Even though you get excited and you want to see your standard, trust me and paint the pickets before you put them on. After I have the pickets painted, then it's time to paint the frame of the standard. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just painting the frame. And I actually am using stain because I had a gallon of it And I thought, let's stain a jump standard. That would look pretty cool. So that's what I'm doing. And these are the frames for the standards once they are all stained and ready for their pickets. You could even leave them like that if you wanted to. So basically now all that's left is to attach the pickets to the frames. After I've got the pickets where I want them to be, I use a very small drill bit to have a starter hole for my screws. This prevents the wood from splitting and cracking. And then I'm using 2-inch deckmate screws to attach the pickets. And these are the standards, all done. All done, they're done. So the one thing that is really cool about these jump standards and building your jump standards this way is that when you put your jump cups on, you're not gonna see them. So that's what it'll look like from the front. And that's what it looks like from the back. So you can see that it's easy to put the jump cups in. And move them around. But my favorite part about these standards is you will not see the jump cups. So you don't have to run out and buy the really expensive keyhole track. You can, but that's really expensive. You can find these jump cups for about $4, $3.50 if you buy a lot of pair of them from places like State Line Tack or horse.com. And these holes are 4 inches apart. Ugh. So you could put a lot of jump cups on here. You could actually do with these, because remember we have the 2x4 blocking this one. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could put 8 rails on this jump. We're not going to put that many on this one, but I just wanted to show you how cool that looks. Because see, it looks like it's the fancy keyhole track jump cups but it's not. It's the plain, simple, easy to find jump cups. Pretty cool, don't you think? I hope you found that video helpful, and hopefully you now have an idea of how you can make your own wing standards. It's not very hard. Like I said, you just have to have a little bit of patience and take your time. But these are actually very, very simple and straightforward to make. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel. Just click on my picture at the end of this video. You can subscribe to my channel and watch all my other videos. There's a lot of jump building videos right now. If you want to build some jumps, I got lots going on in the jump department. Again, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay passionate and enjoy your ride.